Hey, how's it going? I've always had a really hard time relaxing. It's something just I've always struggled with in general, always being paranoid that I'm not doing something correctly or that I'm wasting time, etc. And I've had other friends share a similar sentiment. And as I've gotten older and I've had to balance work and relaxation and school and, so many different things and hanging out with friends and, just the priority list keeps growing and growing, it's hard to find dedicated time for myself. And I've always tried to have two separate times, in the morning from this to this is work time, and then the afternoon is, I can hang out with friends, stuff like that, and at the night I can really relax and stuff like that. Because even when I'm hanging out with friends, a lot of the time, it's not really relaxing. I sort of talked about that, I think 2 videos ago, but that's not always the case. But I do try and sort of cut up my day into sections where I know exactly what I'm going to be doing, because if I don't, I will sort of always have this looming anxiety that, I'm not getting things done, that I am wasting time, being lazy, sort of trying to uphold these standards that I'm not really sure where they came from, but I don't know if they're necessarily realistic. I've always had that mindset where you constantly have to be working and focusing on what's next, and you're constantly looking for new avenues to make money or be successful or grow your brand or whatever when it comes to like YouTube and stuff like that. I remember for a long time I was really looking at how can I do TikTok clips because it was so popular, but I was never really able to find a way to make it personal and not feel like I'm chasing the algorithm. I've talked before about how I hate how YouTube and social media is like a game, because in reality you're not really allowed to do what you want. You sort of always have to fixate your content a little bit towards the algorithm if you do want to grow in any way. Now, obviously, you don't have to care about growing, which is what I try really hard to do. But I always find myself, no matter what, focusing on views and subscribers, even though at the end of the day, this is a passion project. This is not making me any money. I don't even, I think, qualify for the ad program and stuff like that. But I sort of get lost in the sauce a little bit. I don't think people should have to constantly hustle. I think, within the last 2 years, and even way before then, I think hustle culture and grind culture and, constantly got to be on that grind and have passive income and make your hobby a way to turning your hobby into a side hustle and stuff like that. And I hate that. I think that people should be allowed to relax. Not every hobby needs to be a hustle or a source of revenue. I found that when I'm trying to relax, I can't, because I think I should be working. And then I don't end up working because I should be relaxing. And it's like this never-ending cycle of procrastination and anxiety. Thinking about what's coming next becomes toxic, and I can't relax, even in a situation where I can't really work. I'll be stressing about school or work at like 3 in the morning when I can't realistically do anything about those things. I should be sleeping, I should be taking time for myself, but instead I'm sitting there like just a little ball of anxiety, freaking out about stuff I can't really change in that current moment. And after just such a long time of this cycle, I end up living life on autopilot a little bit. And I'm not thinking about what's next because I just become so tired of trying to work harder than what I think is realistically possible. This cycle just wore me out. I ended up constantly chasing both relaxing and taking time for myself and working, where I just kind of got nothing. I would end up just doing nothing and not focusing on work or school, while also not being able to relax because of the anxiety of just life in general and just, rotting in my bed or playing games but not even having a good time doing it. I started uploading regularly to this channel about a year ago to give me something to work on in my personal time, because I dropped a lot of my hobbies, which I actually talked about in a video around that time when I started uploading more often. Essentially, the only thing I had going on in my life was work. I had dropped a lot of my other hobbies, and I just felt like I was doing nothing with my life. But over time, I started thinking about views and subs and how to do videos in a way that would get more views, and that started to give me the same anxiety that work was giving me. It completely removed the entire purpose of this hobby in the first place. In my video before about hobbies, I talked about how it sort of all just became an obligation because I thought I should be working towards them even if I didn't enjoy them anymore. And I think that these two topics are related. The guilt that I feel towards, not getting a bag or not improving at drawing or whatever are essentially the same feeling. What's the point of drawing if I am just miserable the whole time? I can't draw a straight line and I end up ruining my day over it, which is why I ended up kind of dropping it. I have a sketchbook that I try and draw in like once a month, but that's kind of it. I don't want to push myself to do something that I'm not enjoying anymore. And maybe that spark will come back, but it hasn't for the past 3 years, so why ruin my day over it? It's sort of this constant feeling of I'm not good enough, or I'm not living up to the standards that I've placed upon myself, or maybe that others have placed upon me, and therefore I should never be allowed to relax, because even when I'm in a situation where I can, I don't. And the standards keep growing. I never end up satisfied. If you look back at some of the drawings that I've done recently, through the eyes of 12-year-old me, he would be, I think, kind of amazed and super impressed. But now I'm constantly comparing myself to others and raising the bar so much that in some cases it can ruin my day, like I mentioned earlier. No matter how much I improve or do better at school or my job or my hobby, whatever it may be, the bar is just constantly raising and raising for myself. And I'm constantly chasing this short little dopamine spike after I finish a project. But then a day later, it's gone, and I have to work harder and do better than last time. It's sort of why a lot of these videos are so simple. A lot of the stuff that I'm working on in the background, you guys probably don't even notice. I don't really have fancy edits or super detailed scripts, but I do focus on how I present myself, how I talk, how the listening experience with these videos are. Focusing on little stuff like that isn't like this, I have to make the next best video essay or something like that, which I used to do, and ended up turning a hobby that I really enjoyed into something that was miserable. I think that life on its own is already pretty hard, and I sort of put these unrealistic standards on myself that create a cycle where I can never relax, and I become so overwhelmed that I end up self-sabotaging and just living life on autopilot in this sort of numb state. I get work time and relaxing time mixed up and prioritize one over the other without making a schedule that's a healthy balance, and I end up just wallowing in, anxiety or whatever, and end up not really getting anything done overall. I think it's a really unhealthy cycle that it's really important to take time for yourself, even if it's just 30 minutes at the end of the day, just doing something that you enjoy. It's something that I think is really important. It doesn't really have to be anything. It doesn't have to be some long-term goal like, all right, I'll make something that's happy. I'll work towards doing this so that, I can improve and just doesn't matter what it is. Just 30 minutes, an hour. I've started taking time for myself, and I think that it really has improved my day-to-day life and my overall mood. But yeah, I got links and stuff in the description. I do have a playlist, by the way, of all of my commentary videos in one playlist that I think a lot of people don't really check the playlist section. So yeah, if you want to go watch any more of these videos, playlist is over there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you guys.